Hello and good day. Wherever you are today, I hope that you are having an exceptional day. And if you're not, once you watch this, you're going to start having an exceptional day because today on our episode number 12, I can't believe we're already at episode number 12. I get to share with you who I still call Dominique Thurman, but we know that she is now Dominique Bright. I think her last name now just is perfect for her. I get to share her with you. She was a sprinter jumper at Georgia Southern University. She is an Atlanta girl, and I'm just really excited to be able to spend some time with her today and just share some things from what she experienced as a student athlete, but then more so what she's experiencing now today as a wife and as a mom and as a working mom. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Dominique in now. So please enjoy. Hey.
Hey, coach.
Hey. Look, I'm going to say, hey, Pooh.
I know, right?
You
And
had
it's crazy.
some,
Look, and I still answer by it, which is crazy. I'm like, I'm 37 going on by poo. Like,
yeah, yeah. They had so many nicknames for you. I'm like, what's her real name when I first got there? They were calling you Pooh, Nikki Pooh. Then I think at one point they were calling you and Nicole Nickel and
and
Dime.
dime. Yep.
I was
Oh,
like,
nickel and dime.
yeah, you.
Yes.
Yep. I was like, man, what is her real name? So it is so good to see you.
It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Just as beautiful as always. You
Oh,
have
thank
not changed
you.
one bit.
Thank you, coach. Look, you too. Look, it's crazy. Are we Asian?
Hey,
Look.
I don't know. I don't know. Look, I may not be Asian, but I do be eating. So if you see me, you would know. I don't put on some pounds.
Look, I know I eat, so I definitely got to stay in the gym
Oh
because
my gosh.
I don't have the track body anymore, coach. Look,
Look, I
for
don't even
2
look.
days.
I don't even want to talk about what that used to look like. I'm telling you. But look, thank you for being on here with me. I want to jump right in with you because I know you're a working woman. So, I want to start out first by, as I talk more to what I say, the Georgia Southern girls that I had, you guys just had this, I don't know, just this it. I mean, I say that wherever I go, y'all just had this it about you. So I want to know from you what made Georgia Southern and your experience as a track and field athlete there so special to you?
What made it so special? Honestly, coach, the teammates.
Mm,
So it is something about the way we gelled, the support we gave each other. Now, and I say that to say the least. Now, mind you, we didn't get along all the time. We
right.
had our moments, but it was something about when it came down to it, we could count on each other. And
Mm,
you know you don't get that everywhere, especially with a group of ladies.
mhm,
um with the Georgia Southern teammates, like it was something where we almost one of those things where we knew the assignment. We could
mm,
walk the walk, we could talk the talk. We knew that at the end of the day we had one mission. And the love and support was always there, underlying or not. So to me, that's what made it that much more special,
mm,
because we may have not won every race, we may not have been champions every year, but it was one of those things where you knew Georgia Southern track and field, like you knew us, and it was one of those things where we knew each other. So that's one of the things I'm most fond about. And just remembering the the fun, the crazy times we've had with each other's. Like I can like it's crazy because it's so many,
mm,
but through all of them, we were there for each other. The laughter, the love, the
yeah.
crying, the support. So that's, to me, that's the most important. That was the most important piece of it.
Well, look, I have to give you your flowers because from every young lady that I've talked to that was any part of Georgia Southern's team, even not just through the 15 for 15, but even prior to this, your name always comes up. When we're talking about memories or cool stuff, whether it was the group that graduated before you or the group that graduated after you, or even the class that you came in with, your name always comes up. And it does not shock me because you always had this, I don't even know what to say, but almost like this presence about you, the heart. like really just the heartbeat of the team. And I picture that because Nicole would always tell me too, when she was an athlete and when she became a coach, was, Coach, just wait till you see Nikki Poo on this first leg of this 4x1. Can't nobody run the first leg like her. And the first time I got to see it, I was like, you are absolutely right. And after all those years that I coach, nobody can come out them jacks like you on that 4x1. But I also know a part of that was because that's how much you embody competition, but that's almost also how you embody team. You just like, even if I'm hurting or whatever's going, oh, okay, the team got to do this. Okay, I better get it together.
And that's what I was going to say. That team is something about, because if you put me on my single event, I may flake or do whatever. But it was something about knowing I had three other people counting on me at that moment. Like it was crazy. It's just that sense of belonging and value. Like this is not just a single. This is all of us together. So it
Yeah.
was something, because that was probably by far my favorite race, the 4x1, and watching the 4x4. So it was.
Look, I see how you threw that in. And what? Look, I'm glad you said that because I got a little surprise for you. So, look, I'm about to bring something up.
Oh, Jesus.
So you said watching. Look, I'm getting good with this little virtual stuff. But anyways, the 4x4. But I wasn't even gonna point out that there's two things I wanted to point out.
Oh,
Number one,
God.
this was at the conference championship at Appalachian State in 2007. This was during getting ready to run the 4x4. And I remember seeing this picture literally as it was happening. And this is what touched my heart after that whole year, because I never with y'all's team had to say, y'all get up, so and so about to run. Y'all get up and cheer. We need to support. I never had to say that with you guys because you were going to support. But I had to, that's number one. I never had to do that. You girls just had it. But number two, I had to put this arrow right there because I mentioned in Lauren's episode how she would have y'all's hair laid. So I'm looking at your hair. Now, mind you, this is 2007. So this was like almost 16 years ago. And look at these earrings you got on. Now, who wearing earrings like that at the track meet? I just need to call that
So this is crazy. This is typical Nikki Poo. Like my hair had to be done. Like shout out to Lauren, because
out.
let me tell you, I'm talking about at the track meet. I need my hair curled. So that was a staple. That was like Nikki Poo. I don't think it was a track meet I went to and my hair was not either in braids or I had a fresh press. So
Right.
this is crazy because how you capture it. But let's talk about these earrings.
These earrings.
So why did you let me wear these out there? I
Hey,
don't know why, but
this is what I'm saying. Like I wasn't going, and my thing was, as long as y'all was handling your business, and as long as your uniform was on point with what everybody else were, I wasn't gonna change what your earrings look like. But you, out of all people, again, this is
gotta,
16 years ago, and look at them earrings.
I gotta do a little extra. Little this
Just
is
a
why it's
little bit.
funny.
This
This is
is, look at
funny.
everybody else. Okay, she got her shades on. JC got her visor on.
Mine's on, yep.
Mel still tanning from all the events she done did. And then Ashley, she got to represent the A with this hat leaning. You know what I mean? But here you go.
But that's what I'm saying. It's crazy because we had our own little twist to
Yes.
everything. But
Isn't
this
it?
is funny. This is
I
hilarious.
love it. So I had to surprise you with that, and also share my skills of how I'm getting better with this whole computer thing.
You
But
did that.
I want to know from you, what were some of the things you took from your time, from track and field, and some of the things you learned during that time that you use now as a woman in your everyday life?
Absolutely. I think some of the things that I took from then that I kind of incorporate every day is my work ethic and my drive. It's one of those things where, and not to discount my discipline, I think all athletes can contest when I say, you have to have a certain level of discipline
Mm,
in whatever you do. So it's one of those things where track and field for me, like you had to do two a days. You
mm,
like it was some days where it was like, oh my God, I'm a sprinter. Why am I running here? Why am I doing this, coach? But
right.
it was that piece of it, the discipline, and at the end of the day, it wasn't something where someone forced your hand to do. You
Mhm.
had a choice. So it builds you when you hit up against those tough times, or that feeling where you can't continue, you can't go on. Like, yes, you can. Let me push through this. So I use that in everyday life, with work, with my family, with my child. I go back to that place where I was when I had to do all them 400s and couldn't understand why, but I knew I had to push through. So I definitely think I incorporate that in my everyday life, just my work ethic. Ever since I was young, I really had a strong work ethic thanks to my dad. And I really think I lead with that no matter what I do. And then
Mhm.
everything else kind of comes in, the discipline, the driven. If I'm passionate about it, I'm gonna do that much more with it. So I think all of those things kind of, transition to who I am today. And I definitely utilize them in everything I do and everything I speak about moving forward.
Mm. I'm glad. Thank you for mentioning your dad because, as I try to kind of think through before I talk to you guys, like what from that time stood out to me. And for you, I can't think about you without thinking about your dad. I mean, it just is what it is. Like when I think about you, I think about your father showing up, like being there. And now kind of seeing you, as a mother and as a wife, just from what I can see on the outside, it looks like you turned around and married a man that has that same drive and love for his daughter. So tell me a little bit about, just that dynamic with you and your father coming up and how you see something similar now in your husband today on how he is with y'all's daughter.
Absolutely. So that is actually a crazy story. So let me first start off by saying, if you know me personally, on an individual level, or even if you probably what my name is, my dad. So it's one of those things where he has literally been every like there from a supportive standpoint every step of the way. And it's one of those things that I don't take lightly. Like, I tell a lot of people, my mother gave me life, but
Mhm.
my father really taught me how to navigate through life.
Mhm.
And whether that was through, hey, his involvement, making sure I can depend on him, always being my motivator, my trainer, my encourager, he was that person for me. So it
Mhm.
was one of those things where, I talk about, my work ethic and me being driven. He was in the military. And it's funny because, he used to praise my work ethics. Not necessarily if I won something,
Right.
or, oh, you look nice like, it wasn't that. It was my work ethic he praised.
Mhm.
How well I did something, how hard I worked for it. And to me, that was more powerful to me than anything. It was almost like, oh my God, okay, I gotta work harder because
Yeah.
my dad is happy. Everyone wants to make their dad proud.
Wow.
So you can imagine me, naturally growing up, I was like, I'm gonna follow my daddy footsteps. I want to be in the military, and he was like, no.
Right.
And for me, I was just like, oh man, but it was everything that he has taught me. He was like, you can utilize that anywhere, baby. You don't have to necessarily follow my footsteps. I want you to create your own. So it was one of those things, but he's always been there. So then for me to marry, and it's crazy because my father, if you know him,
Mhm.
he's raised me to be this independent, like crazy
Yeah.
guru, like ethic. Hey, you driven, da 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 da. So for me to marry, it was like, okay, daddy, what's next? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so, and then I went into marriage, and then my husband is like my dad times 10, and it's crazy because it
Woo.
didn't hit me, and honestly I didn't recognize it. It didn't really hit me until I had my daughter,
Mhm.
because the relationship they have, their genuine relationship, reminds me of when I was with my father. So
Mhm.
it's one of those things where I try, because I know that's what I needed, and
Yeah.
I know that's what she needs. So it's one of those things where now it's so recognizable, and from a different perspective, I appreciate it more. And it's crazy because just all the things my dad taught me, I'm so eager to, like, oh, I need to teach Ava, I need to do this for her. But then I'm like, wait, I'm not the dad.
Mm.
Like it's not going to be perceived the right way. So it's that's where I'm at now, trying to recognize how I can incorporate what I've been taught, but allowing my husband to give her everything she needs so she can soar.
Yes.
So no,
Honey,
it's crazy, coach, because I wanted a boy. Let me go on record saying that
right.
and God was like, nope.
You got a little you. So
Like times 10 to where she does things I know only I would do. And
mhm.
it's so crazy how it's so natural for her.
Oh,
And she's doing it without a like, and she's owning it and she's so confident. And I love every piece of it and want to strangle her in the same breath.
right, 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 exactly. I love all of this, and look, I want to know this too because I know we don't have a lot of time, but I want to know this too. What is life like for you being a wife and being a mother and being a businesswoman and being in corporate America? And because with you being the type of driven achiever type of person that you are, how are you balancing all of that? Because I know you're high up in what you do professionally. You know, you got the wife piece, you got the mother piece. How are you doing all of this?
I'm not. I'm just playing. No, I'm no, it's stressful. So let me go on the record saying this is not easy at
Mhm.
no means. That it is definitely a challenge trying to figure out how do you give your best at everything
Yeah,
and ensure that you're making the right decision as the businesswoman, as the wife, as the mother without hurting something else. And
yeah,
that's actually the state I'm in now, is definitely trying to balance home life and ensure that, hey, I have a little girl who's watching my every move,
mhm,
but then recognizing I also have a husband who I need to make sure that he is, taken care of, he's good, but don't forget the work ethic that got me to where I'm at. So
yep,
I'm also a businesswoman, and I that's a piece of me that I don't take lightly. Like I value that piece of me that, hey, I can walk in a room and probably stand toe to toe with anybody else that's there.
right.
So is that understanding that balance is where I'm at now.
Mm,
Um and navigating at that place. And it's crazy because even in my moments where I fall on one end or the other, the person I call is my dad.
you gonna
And
call your
I
dad?
call my dad. And it's one of those things where I hope and I pray Ava has that same relationship. I like to think of it. I want her to do it with me, but if it's with her father, like I pray that she's just able, she has someone there to do that with. Because Lord knows I call my daddy for everything.
Man, I love that you have gifted her with that, and for you to have the maturity to be able to see and say, you know what, I know I have these tools, and this mother in me wants to do this, but I also know there's times I need to yield and allow her father to be just that. And so that just shows just a whole level of maturity there. So you could teach some classes on that, believe me. So I want to know too, before we get ready to go, because I don't want to go. I could talk to you all day, but I also want to know, like, what are you looking forward to that's maybe upcoming?
So it's so much. So we can go on and on and talk about the many things I'm looking forward to. But I think one of the things that I'm anxious about because she's at that age is Ava in sports.
Mm,
So I didn't really get into sports until elementary, the latter years of elementary, whereas she's in her early years. So I also sometimes I question myself, had I started a little earlier, would I have tapped into something different? So it's one of those things where she's now, because she knows mommy did track. So just to hear her and to see her running and her to say, mommy, I'm gonna play track. She
oh,
doesn't she doesn't know what that's doing to, like, it's one of those things where, okay, mommy, you did it, so I'm gonna do it. So it's like that same feeling I had with my father. Oh, you was in the military, I'm gonna do it. I want to prove, I want to make sure you happy. She's in that space, and I can't wait to be there for her, to encourage her, to train with her on days where she wants to give up, to build that work ethic.
hmm,
And so it's one of those things where I don't want to do it too early because I want her to enjoy being a kid, but
yes,
I want to make sure I I push her a little
Yeah,
earlier
yeah,
so she can be out there because it's some competition out there in the world.
already.
I don't know. I said this is a whole different realm. Like I
Yeah,
don't know what we doing. So that's really what I'm looking most forward to is just her in sports, whether it's cheering, basketball, soccer, I say all those sports, but I mean track.
yeah,
But it's
right.
just that, and just to be there, how I supported the team, how I was there for them. I want to do that for my own. Like I want to be there for her. So I'm anxious about that. Like on a whole nother level, coach.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing that. And that's something now we can all look forward to. And I know because I know you're gonna be showing her growth and her steps and the day she says no and want to just be cute that day and don't feel like running or trying to wear big old earrings at the age of 5. But anyways, well, honey, I love you. Thank you so much for jumping on here. I know
Oh
that
yeah.
you're at work, but I was just blessed to be in your presence today.
Thank you for thinking of me, coach. And it's definitely a you will forever have this moment and this place in my heart. Because when we think of Georgia Southern, we think of Coach Smith. Like it's one of those things like
Yeah,
because you came in and we was like, and you was
right.
like, oh, let me get y'all together real quick. And it was like, oh, okay, you right. We're gonna get together real quick. So you were exactly what we needed at that time. So um I love you. I appreciate you. This opportunity anytime.
Okay.
Call me, need me, whatever it is, I'm there.
And
So
the same goes here, sweetie. Same goes here. I will talk to you soon.
all right. Talk to
All
you
right.
later.
All right. Bye. Oh, see, I got to share somebody else special with you guys. I just love Dominique, and you can just hear, like, even just in the pace of how she speaks, she's always been a very mature young lady, and you can hear as she talks about her father, where that really came from, that richness that he's instilled in her, that strength, that power, that encourager, and that supporter. And one of the things I want you to leave with that she shared was that regardless of how maybe the track meet went or how something went, her father was always there to say, I liked watching how you worked through that or your work ethic in that or how you stood in that. So it wasn't always necessarily about the win, the loss, the first or the second, but it was about the way you won or the way you didn't win. So somebody might need to grab that today. So thank you again for joining Dominique, Nikki Poo, and myself on this episode of 15 15 for 15. And we will see you again soon.